necessarily bad. And we couldn't change it all if we wanted to. Our infrastructure in the United States is set up that literally you can't stop. Like the concept of embodied energy is completely lost on our generation.
We went from like holistic, like all of these kind of catchwords that people will latch onto in their brain and summarizes a whole movement.
How do we become more conscious of how we're interdependent of one another? Connectedness, taking resource, birthing out of this discontent. People are somewhat paralyzed by information and paralyzed by the amount of choices that they have. The cost of having too much, both to society, to our environment, what we choose on a regular basis, is more of a vote, how we're interdependent. Your close network of friends, more aware and more beer that is solar driven, a solar powered microbrew. What they want more than they ever have is communities. Mike's technology didn't just happen. Distill what we've learned from the last phase of industrialization.
Everything that's coming out right now is like, well, we need to limit our carbon. We need to lose 30% in the next
Absolutely.
10 years. People don't know what we're doing 6 months from now, let alone a year from now, let alone 5 years from now. Like our society is so much about instant gratification that we need to start talking in terms of instant gratification. We need to start talking in terms of, hey, over the next 12 months, let's just do better. Let's use less than we did last year. And then once you get there, then we're like, okay, great. So we tried this for the last 12 months. We did less than we did last year. Now let's do this. And that's how our brains work right now.
But the definition of sustainability in itself is just to sustain, to tread water, like hold ground, keep what you've got. But the thing is we've inherited this world and this industrial revolution that's taken us generations to get to this point. We cannot sustain. We had the X generation, we had the Y generation. I think this generation will be the regeneration. And imagine what could happen if there were, 10, 20, 30, 40 million children running around calling themselves the regeneration.
Find the spark, that flicker, where all of a sudden the individual can realize, oh, it is possible, or oh, I get it. The whole relationship of apprentice was meant so that the teacher could learn and understand the student, so that the teacher could create the environment necessary to cultivate that student, so that that person could then carry on the tradition, not just in its entirety, but actually improve upon it.
So part of this idea of children as natural learners and naturally intelligent and curious people is just the idea that we don't really have to directly teach them much at all. We just expose them to sort of the natural wonders of the world, and their curiosity propels them along. Saving the trees and recycling paper and that sort of thing, those are important too, but I think even more crucial than that, because we were all told things that were important, values by our parents when we were young, and we either kept them or threw them out, but they don't automatically become our values. What we do here at the school is just spend a lot of time working outside, playing outside, planting in the garden, harvesting what we've planted, being with the animals through all of their cycles of birth and death. Really, the most sustainable thing we're doing is teaching children to be the bearers of, knowledge and wisdom and compassion for the future. The idea is that we can't teach them to save the world if they haven't learned to love it.
common ailment is anxiety and nervousness. And they're just living their life in such a hectic manner where, because we get bogged down with, trying to make a living, trying to pay off our student loan. They're running around, they're racing around and not slowing down their life, and they're not really enjoying their life. It's sort of like their life is running them. Why go out and buy new things when something works perfectly well? So one, you're saving income, you're saving time, more time. And that's become the number one value in people's lives as we grow older is time. There's not enough time for this. There's not enough time for my family, my work, the things I love to do. There's not enough time to play floor hockey.
The disturbance that comes when going to work doesn't seem to provide nourishment, when the majority of the things that you do seem at best meaningless and in many ways painful. And that kind of being upset can show up in all different ways. It can show up as actual physical illness, or it can show up as what would be called depression or anxiety. When I see that kind of person in the clinic, I suggest that the possibility is that they're having a normal response to an abnormal situation, that the world is not healthy. I think we simply wake up at this moment and discover that death is real and life needs us to show up. That if I care, then I will do something different. And if I don't feel responsible, if I don't have that feeling of obligation for my life, no amount of talk, no amount of evidence is going to make much difference.
I mean, I like everyone to think I'm mad
That's actually potato.
Whoa, that was the best. Did you get that?